I'm sure most of you guys have a website for your business. I'm sure most of them are pretty good, and I'm sure you probably hated the process of building it. I assume you didn't build it yourself. If you did, I apologize, and you might want to rethink that. So today what we're going to do is we're talk about creating an online presence. I don't anticipate you're going to leave here and be an SEO specialist. I see a couple insurance type competitors of mine, if you will, or people in the industry, obviously just like you. Our industry is a service industry, so there's lots of providers out there. What I'll help you today do and learn is how to communicate with your online provider, with your web agency. Know what they're telling you, and if it's, for lack of better terms, I asked if I could curse earlier and didn't know if I would, but know if it's bullshit. Know if it's real or if it's not. There's a lot out there. There's analytics companies, there's landing pages, you can do video, you can do content. I just saw both, and I do both, and I do both well. I think people before me do them well, but you have to know what you're doing. So my motto is what I call start with the end in mind. And today we're going to talk at 2:30 upstairs about starting with the end in mind with your website, knowing what factors to look for, how to talk to your agency, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get somebody to sign up? Are you trying to get 100 people to an event? Are you trying to get somebody on a boat, in a restaurant? What is it you want to actually do? How are you going to track it? Once you track it, how do you take actions on that to actually hit your goals so you can go play golf every day, so you can go take your kids on that vacation you want to take them on? So, there are some core factors. They put up my slides here. I didn't know they would, so go over here. Obviously how partnering, I do own a digital agency in Boston and do work with large and small companies, whether it's with a company or my company or another one, knowing that it's something you need to do. Would you go and try to fix a car if you know? I mean, admittedly, I'll tell a story. I have a few minutes. They got a big clock right here. So I was driving a girl home from college for Thanksgiving, and the car breaks down about halfway home. I pull over at a gas station thinking, all right, this is going to be smooth. I think she likes me. We did end up, having a little thing. But anyways, long story short, I pull over to the gas station. I pick up the hood to look under it. What do I realize the second I look under the hood? If anything's wrong, I'm not going to know. I don't know what it's supposed to look like under the hood of a car. So I'm sitting there getting grease all over me. She's like, how's it going? Oh, great. We'll be on the road in 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, shoot. What are we going to do? Like, this girl's not going to like me. We're stuck in the middle of New Hampshire, of all places. Probably an hour from any, AAA or anything like that. So, at the end of the day, knowing what you're good at is important. So don't try to do everything. Don't try to write the blogs. Don't try to do the SEO. Don't try to be the designer. I tell potential clients all the time when I first meet them, you don't need a graphic designer 100% of their time to spend 100 plus grand on it. You don't need an amazing developer 100% of their time. You don't need a strategist. You don't need a content creator. You add all that up, you're looking at a $500,000, $1 million+ budget for your marketing department. At the end of the day, you need a senior designer, maybe 6% of their entire year to help you with what you're doing. And to have a developer try to design, or have somebody, who creates content try to then go load it up on your site and expect it to look the right way, isn't the right use and isn't how you want people to see your business. Your business and your website, it's the first impression people get, besides social media and potentially a video. These are the avenues and the roads that you pave into your house. But do you want to invite people into your house before the bathroom works? Before the plumbing's fixed? Before everything is kind of working together? So it's important to understand what you're good at and what you need help with, and then finding a partner with a synergy, or having a partner with a synergy through all these different, facets of marketing, so they can work together under one roof, will keep your bills down. Admittedly, I think the next slide is people I've worked with. I've worked with some large clients, and what I've seen the pitfalls with some of the larger ones is they've got a development agent, they got SEO, they've got social, they got somebody doing the video. And to get something through on the Pfizer site or on a P&G site, it might take me 6 months to change the word the or of. Where, obviously you guys deal with compliance, some of you, some don't. And we can talk through that process. I have extensive experience there. But at the end of the day, it's important to know how to communicate with these people. Are they ripping me off? I sit across the room in 2019, and I started this in the year 2000. Google was about a year old, eBay a couple, Amazon was still selling books, barely online. And at the time, you know, it was one of those things where, all right, I always wanted to own a business. If I owned it downtown, 500,000 people might walk by Fenway. I'm from Boston. I don't have the accent. I'm sorry. I'll say wicked during my presentation at least 3 times, just so you know I'm from Boston. We do have something like 17 champions. I won't go there. Anyways, I always wanted to own a store or own a business. Well, if I got 500,000 people that walk down past Fenway Park and I own a store, 10% walk in, 10% buy something. All of a sudden, the internet was born. It's like, holy crap! I can have 10 million people walk by a day. Admittedly, I've ranked for the word insurance quotes. I've ranked for the letter E. I mean, I can make things rank in the search engines. It's not a game. It's hard work. It's like going to the gym. You don't show up at the start of the marathon and expect to finish it. Trust me, I'm super out of shape. I'd make it to about mile 2, fall over, and it would be a disaster. But you go to the gym, you get in shape, you work your way to it. You would jog, you know, you start on the treadmill. Personally, I'd probably walk about a half mile on the treadmill and then fall over. But after a week or two, you know, I'd start to jog a mile. Then I'd work my way to a 5K and work my way up. And marketing is the same. You don't want to sprint. You don't want to, you know, take performance enhancers and just try to buy it and push yourself up. That will always backfire. Barry Bonds isn't in the Hall of Fame. There's a reason. He tried to accelerate his progress, and look what happened. Nobody looks at him as if he was doing it legitimately, and the same will happen to your business. So you have to put in the time. You have to know how to communicate with people, and at the end of the day, you have to know the basics. So today, where's my clock? Boom. So today, at my presentation, you know, we'll go through the basics of SEO, so you know when an agency's talking to you what indexability is. Basically, every page on your site's like a book, and Google's that library. If somebody goes to check something out in the library, if you don't own that book, going back to the last presenter, Christoph, on the content, if you don't have that content, you're not going to be a result. Don't just anticipate Google's going to know that you offer X, Y, and Z in this region. Like, how are they going to know that? Look, I don't know any of you. How would they know? You know, so you're not Best Buy. You're not this massive, and then we'll talk about the other 2 pillars, which are authoritativeness. So you're not this massive authority. You might be if you're a Northwestern Mutual or something like that, but odds are you're not. I didn't see Geico or Aflac here. I think you guys are all, you know, in a different realm. And then the last thing is relevancy. So going back to content, whether it's video, written, any types of content. So going through indexability, relevancy, and authoritativeness at a really, really, really high level so that you understand it. When you go into your next meeting with your agency, you can say, this is what we need. This is what we want to get out of it. This is why I'm spending money with you. And this is actually what we don't need a brochure. Well, yeah, you do, but you need it to do something for you. I had a gentleman, and my clock is running up here, as they reset me. I had a gentleman who owns a pet store. He's about 70 years old. And he said on a video testimonial to us at some point, you know, he doesn't understand the web at all. But your website's not about building a monument to yourself, but it's about creating a place where your audience can find what they need. Sure enough, 6 months after we launch it, some guy drives about 2 hours with his kids and buys a sugar glider. I had no idea what a sugar glider is. It's a flying freaking squirrel. They go for like $5,000. And if you're gonna buy a flying squirrel, you need a flying squirrel cage. You need flying squirrel food. You need all, it's one of those things that nobody should ever buy, but people with too much money buy for their kids. He Googled it. This guy came, my pet store came up. The guy was on Martha's Vineyard. He took a ferry with his kids, drove to Boston, took about a 2-hour trip, spent about $7,000. The 70-year-old guy calls me up at the end of the store and he says, it worked. You know, I had a great website at Monument. I've had my business for 30 years, but a guy just walked out. He spent thousands of dollars on a random product. It wasn't a dog or a cat. It was a freaking sugar glider. And you look them up, they have flying squirrels. And at the end of the day, he said, he asked the guy at the checkout, he goes, you know, why did you come here to buy this? He said, well, I Googled where to buy a sugar glider, and you came up. So it meant what, you know, his goal was to bring people in. So today, again, I'm out of time. We'll talk through, I have a ton of insurance experience. I've worked with all types of estate planning councils and currently work with different groups in private wealth and even in the cannabis space, have some interesting clients in risk management. So anywho, we can get into that today, and I am excited to talk to you about performance, thinking big, my company, so you buy from me, and analytics. I'll see you guys all at 2:30.